for my first activity on Puffs of Magic Dragon, the objective is going to be the learner will be able to recall in writing the literary elements with an 85% accuracy, and that's under the remembering section of Bloom's taxonomy. To do this, I used the retail wheel off the FCRR website, but inserted my own questions there because we're not quite to the retailing part of it yet. So the first thing is you would break the class into groups of 4 and give each group a wheel like this. And the first person will take it. They can answer, like, what is the title, which would be Puffs of Magic Dragon, who is the author, and they'd end up writing Peter Yarrow and Lenny Lipton. So then, as they pass the wheel around, they could spin to the next question. Like this one says, what happened in the story? And they could tell about how Jackie and Puff played together all the time. And then whenever Jackie grew up, he didn't play with Puff no more, and Puff was really sad. And what did you learn from this story? This is rather a really open themed story. It's supposedly about a child losing his innocence, like growing up and not having the same imagination and stuff anymore. But there could be a lot of different stuff that comes from the story. So let the kids decide, like, what did they actually learn from the story? Whether it be, like, you know, your imagination or your toys when you're younger shape you, like, anything they can think of from the story. Let them write it down, and then we'll all have a class discussion afterwards. What happened in the end? Something about picture books is the words that are portrayed are not the same as, like, what the pictures say. Because you can read them words all day long and never understand that, you know, Puff was happy in the end. So you have to go back and look at the pictures to understand what really happened in the end of this book. Who was telling the story? It never says, like, exactly who was telling the story. It just shows, you know, who wrote it, which was, the lyrics, the poem, was written by Lenny Lipton, so we're just assuming that he's the one telling the story. Then, where does the story take place? And that should actually be where and when for the setting. But we know very clearly that the story takes place in Honolulu. And it's in autumn. That would be the when. And who are the characters? Well, Puff is the main character. And then Jackie, Paper, is the second main character in there, which are both very important. But looking deeper into the pictures, we're going to say that maybe his daughter, the little girl, she plays an important part too, because she makes him happy in the end. And with each of these questions, each student will write down their answers on a sheet of paper. And whenever all their answers are done, you can ask what each student thought, and some of the different themes they get from the story. They may differ a lot from, you know, what the intention of the story is, but with it not being a, like, actual book, it was more like a poem and a song, it could mean different things to different people. So just be open to the students and what they think about it. Then, they can keep that paper, and they're going to do something a little differently. You're going to pass out different sheets of paper, and they're going to be folded different. Like, one sheet will be folded right at the bottom, and then the second one a little higher up, and the third one almost in the middle folded. But whenever they're folded together, they're going to look like this and have, like, a little tab at the top of each. And this comes from an actual classroom activity I've done before. Like I said, I don't have a printer or anything to print from right now, so I used just the stuff that was in the book to come up with this activity of the stuff that goes on the front of it. So, the students will each get a little booklet that looks like this, and me as a teacher would write on the board, like I would draw out the different tabs and what they look like, and write like the bottom one would say title, and then settings, characters, plot, and for this one I'm going to put the end because there's a different ending than what's actually in the words of the book, and then the theme will be the biggest picture on there. Well, each student will get crayons or color pencils or markers, whatever they want to draw with. And for the title, they're going to write Puff the Magic Dragon on it. And I'm going to show them one like this to let them know exactly like how to go through it and do. And you would flip this down whenever they're done with that. And for the settings, when is in autumn, where is in Hanalei, and they can draw a little picture of Hanalei and him in the little cave or whatever they want to draw. They are just, the objective for this actually is the learner will illustrate the literary elements with a 90% accuracy. So they're just drawing what they think about it, and they're still going to be writing a couple things on each page. That is under the understanding part of Bloom's taxonomy. For the characters, they can just name the main two, or if they want to draw the little girl too, that's fine. The characters are Puff the Magic Dragon, and they can draw a picture of Puff and what they think he looks like or something about him. And there's Jackie Paper, and they can draw a little picture of him. Then the plot is basically Puff is happy when Jackie is playing with him, and then Puff is sad whenever Jackie is no longer playing with him as he grows up. So I drew a picture of Puff really happy whenever Jackie is around, and then him being really sad whenever he's not. And in the end, Puff finds a little girl to play with him, and he is happy again. So you see Puff has a big smile on his face whenever the little girl's playing with him. And then the theme of the story on this page, I said the theme was kids grow up. And as they grow up, they don't do the same things they do as little kids anymore. And for the other part of this page, I said draw something from home that you have outgrown, whether it be, toys or just your imaginary friend or something. I drew a baby blanket because I had a blanket whenever I was little that was probably bigger than that, and I had that blanket for a really long time, and I actually still have it now, but it's basically only like a little bit strip like that of it. It's not the whole blanket anymore. But that was my little security blanket, and as I grew up, I outgrew it. And so for the closure, I'm sorry, you guys. Actually, during this whole thing, we're going to extend the activity. And, like I said, this was a song before it was ever written into a book. And it's really easy to find on YouTube. Just type in Puff the Magic Dragon song and have that playing in the background while the kids are doing this. So give them a little music to color to, and it retells the story, so they'll have like a stronger understanding of it while they're doing it. And for closure, we can each go through this and show our pictures and talk about why some of the students drew what they did on there. And then we're going to display this in the classroom so we can staple it up there so people can flip it down and see what everybody drew and make the kids really proud of what they did.